music industry and we speak about Shatta, Stonebwoy, and Sark, right? But what does that look like? I think something I've been thinking about recently is why is it that whenever we have these powerhouses, there's conflict? And what does that conflict feel like in an industry like the Ghanaian music industry, which obviously everybody wants to propel to another level? How do we...
So Stonebwoy is trending. And I have the full gist for you. My name is Denjuma Khalid. If today is your first time of watching, you kindly subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. So if you have been following Stonebwoy for the past 2 months, you get to know that your man is on hit because on his birthday, he hosted Torture Experience, the second one at home. He recorded a successful show. So your man sat with his wife and he was like, nah, I cannot just do this in Ghana alone. So let me extend it to where? In London. So this one, he named it what? Beam Festival. Beam Festival, which will be on what? On 15th of what? August 2026. And don't forget, Shatta Wale is also hosting Shatta Fest that same August. Right? So as part of the promotion, your man touches down, the interviews could go on. So on one of the podcasts, I saw him with Off the Record. Big shout out to them. Then they were asking, as the interview was going on, so they asked him like a couple of questions. So he spoke about his accident. He spoke about his music journey. He spoke about this tracks. He talked about content creators, bro. That is where I really... Okay, so he talked about social media, how influence it has on this music thing. Then what again? So that is that. So Stonebwoy really wanted to criticize these content creators. Yes, because he was like, whenever there is a beef track out there, or somebody, artist A, this is artist B, we know who he was just referring to. So whenever artist A, this is artist B, it is the content creators that put more fire into it, that ginger everything.
Everywhere. And the thing is that people have found, especially with the emergence of social media now, based on conversations or having to erupt conversations out of whatever is happening, because now there are a lot of podcasts. Podcasting has become a big branch of the entertainment. I do not think that podcasts were popular even 5 years ago. Nice. People have social media now. Content creation has become a very huge aspect of the entertainment scene across the globe now. I don't think 5 years ago it was like that. I'm bringing this point is because one person, now you don't even need followers to start anything. They pick up a phone, they try to create content off of whatever is happening within the industry. Now, a large percentage of the content created must have electric energy headlines so that people can come in and listen. A large chunk would also create unbelievable stories so that can propel. Just because a lot of people have found jobs, people have found work, people have found occupations around the industry in content creation and that. Why I bring that is that we have actually created a lot of the conflicts. A lot of the conflicts are manufactured, and a lot of the conflicts are unnecessarily expanded,
by the content creators,
exactly,
the social media, the blogs.
Exactly. Not, yes, of course. And these blogs are also consumers, these owners and
content creators are also part of the consumers. We also consume the music. It is not only the fans. We are all the fans, but just that we've also chosen to be that this is the work that we are doing, which is the content creation. So he was like, the content creators now, each and everyone can just take a mobile phone, can just take a camera with a microphone, start content creation. If you remember, Shatta Wale was on Asempa. Then he also spoke about the same thing, that Now, content creation has become easy for everyone who just wake up, get a microphone with a camera, then start content creation. There is no verification, so he will just come and post it and be posting like things that is out of coverage area. They don't post authentic content, right?
People find it easy that my so mental camera no be na mental mic na can be here. You know, then go for year shut into and all those things when government is looking at now why is it so and so maybe government wants to do something, but a statement from a nobody can make men come to the oil sector. No? So we have a problem there. So the people that are complaining are the same people that are fueling that thing not to work. But if we can be able to listen to just one direction. Now I've been telling people, yesterday I was watching a video of George Britain about you know, my brother went to London Saturday, a beautiful show. I sending a message because it was but because of your lunch in your money,
and went to me, uncle, and he invited you.
I'm sending a hot wave phone crab. Say was their own fan quenching. They be challenged. Was a member, but Sak is somebody that I discuss a whole lot of things with. So, you know, he just said, okay, cool, but maybe we can do it another time. Sure. But George Britain was talking about the people that were bashing Sarkodie. Say the show no koye and I show, and I was like, and then see on because you know when we are talking about how we can paint this thing for government, hey, I didn't see us.
These guys are serious.
It's like Sarkodie show, and how can we invest into this thing? So okay. Then let's invest. But obviously, now there's Sarkodie and then government will just brush it off and say, my friend, go and think of the cocoa side and let's see how much we can put there. And government is a serious body.
Sure.
Yes, I mean when you go to parliament, nobody can just enter parliament and also share coat. But in our creative sector, no, we have to make share coat. No, we're right at parliament no more. So that is why we are not getting the support we have to get, and that is what Shatta Wale has been preaching for over years. I met Sammy Flex, and Sammy Flex was like, "Honestly, was our problem," and he's been preaching about that for years, but people didn't understand until manager. No, people are seeing him like, "Oh, that's the kind of woman," but it's not about money. It's about how we can build this thing for it to look like a serious venture. Because
that's what is lacking.
That's what is lacking. Because I think what government have to do is do some small washing for us. We don't have respect in our creative arts, and so people have to get license to have a microphone to talk. That is one of the policies that I feel that if government puts that out, in Kofo, Beja or Koto mic, no, the camera seen in no yes, so we need to have.
Answer, I'll be a musician. You should be licensed to work as a musician.
Exactly. Because our system.
With some criteria.
Yes. Yes, because in America, I believe they structured that thing years ago. So the musicians know how the system works. So or call AB Hot 97 this is a serious interview.
So Stonebwoy was also like speaking similar or saying something similar to that. That most of them are just out there posting what is not like posting negative. They are not posting what positive content. Yes. So when this track or beef is out there, it is the content creators who do what? Who ginger it, who puts more fire into it. So this, per what he's saying, he's just directing everything to like my colleagues who are doing breakdowns like Kodimiki, Headless YouTuber, Maghreb, Cody Sheldon, and other people. Yes, that is what he's just sneakily directing it to them. But that is their job. You understand? That is their job. So you can't just, that is their job. And the social media as well. So he talked about this influence on social media that everybody can just pick up a phone, then you go live, then start talking about artist A, artist B, and other stuff. Yes. Social media before, so what he was just trying to say is before, social media was very hard to the extent that before you go live on the social media, you have to be a verified creator or an artist before you go live. But today, as we speak now, I can just pick my phone and go live and start talking about whoever I want to talk to. You understand? So things have really changed. Yeah, we understand the fact that things have changed.
Or a little boy like me to feel inspired and also inculcate, because I loved the vibe,
I think
what
that's
we
dope.
had with
I think that's dope. I think that also probably helped your creative juices and how they flowed in comparison to like in the UK, if you were African trying to do dancehall, they would say you're being a Jamaican, you're trying to, do you know what I mean? So I think that's definitely
I think we all got that. We all got that, and it's now that we have had to fight that stereotype, because it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong. Some people speak French and they can express themselves in French. Even in Africa, English is not our mother tongue. We don't know English from nowhere. It's foreign. But some people speak English and we sing in English. So how fake can you be? Do you get what I'm saying? And we needed to actually, so I think a lot of us got over that quite quickly.
Good.
It was only those who felt a little bit more inferior that would use that, if as a joke or even if as an insult, whatever, that's up to them. But I think you have to look at it in the context of the fact that that is normal to do, because you're loving off of some people's stuff. And if you can communicate in the patois, of course, it's not an alien something.
Yeah.
If you can, you use it. If you cannot, people did reggae music in Tree. People did reggae music in Ewe, in Ghana. There's a top legend called General Marcus who lives here now, as far as I'm concerned. They were all doing the dancehall style, but with the local dialect, so it's the
Mix
music.
and blend.
Yeah, mix and blend, so long as you can express yourself. And music is expression of freedom anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
But now you see, you don't get that anymore. The Jafaican, you don't get that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's that conversation around cultural appropriation, but we're going to go there in a bit. But I wanted to pivot slightly just to 2015, where you won the BET Award, which is super dope, because at that point, I think BET Awards was one of the the major award shows.
It was really one of the major ones.
Yeah, so you did that. But on the back of that, I wanted to speak about, you were in America, found out that you had, you at the BET Awards, found out that you had won, and then you experienced an extreme high, and then you found out that your mum was really unwell, and it was two extreme emotions at one time. So before we talk about how you navigated that, RIP as well to your mum. So before we talk about how you navigated that, but how was it winning the BET Award first? What was that emotion like for you?
It was a high. I remember calling my mom, and she was at a funeral in the village. So, she's my biggest cheerleader, same way, happy about winning. And I think just 2-3 days afterwards, I realized that she got back to Accra and then started feeling ill when I was still in America at the time. So it's really sad to, to have gotten to that, level now, and to have such and such over there happening at home, and I've had to rush, back home, and immediately I rushed home. I got into the hospital. That was the same moment that she passed on, and it's just like two ends of
in a really short space
of time, and it's something that I still try to deal with. When it comes to mind, I still try to break it down and assimilate why, because you're gonna ask a lot of whys, because for nothing at all, this is the moment that I would love my mom to be witnessing of the son in flesh, in as much as I know she's witnessing in spirit, but in flesh. Come on, man. Now we're good. We're good, at least for
Levels
nothing at all. We're good. Levels have changed. Levels have gotten way better and can always get greater. But but such is how God, because as a God believer, as a very spiritual person, I find solace and I find comfort in the fact that God runs the universe, all things are in his hands. And once you believe that, you find some peace, you find some peace, and it navigates you towards actually having all this for you, not against you.
Yeah.
You navigate yourself through it. So it was not easy for me. It's still not easy.
Yeah.
But I'm managing the impact, and it's 10 years ago. but I'm managing the impact.
Yeah, I think grief is not linear, right? Especially when it's a parent.
Yes.
I watched an interview where you spoke about, I think, your sister giving you information based on what was happening to your mom at the time. And then you spoke about, I think you recently spoke with your sister and you were having that conversation and it felt like you were triggered by that conversation. So you terminated the call, right? Is there a part of you that feels, I don't want to use the word resentment, but is there a part of you that hasn't healed from your sister not maybe giving you the information that you wanted at that time?
Yeah, it's just like, I would have loved to be told whatever. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, because you're away, we didn't want to tell you all of this, all of that. Meanwhile, I believe that even if I can't do anything about a situation back home, I'm supposed to know, because who knows, I could have done something about it. And I think the detail it was just going to save some time. The detail of that conversation was going to save some time when an ambulance was supposed to come and get her when she had fainted at home. You see what I'm saying? And then I could just place one phone call and I know this is reliable. But you might have to place 3-4 phone calls and this is urgent. We don't need that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that, in fact, you know, it's still what it is, because this is a parent, you know, this is your mom. My mom is like my G, you know, that's how we roll. We've been through a lot together, you know, even, you know, been through a lot. Because when I had my accident, you know, and that's how come I have a total knee replaced, prosthesis right here. I saw my mom struggle for real, you feel me? And, you know, at the hospital in Kolebu, you know, you couldn't go home and come. She loved me so much. She lived there with me in the hospital. But guess what? The sleeping condition was off. You know, they slept in the balconies and in the hallways. You know, it's not just she alone, but she and other mothers. And it's interesting to know that many of those that were sleeping in the hospital on the corners, all those ones, majority were women. So that's why I don't play with women. That's why I respect women to the highest, because you find out that there's something about mothers and their children that the whole world needs to continue to applaud, you know. And so you can imagine, I would have loved to in these times also be sharing
with your mom,
these times with her the most.
Yeah,
but
I get that.
God didn't make it work like that. And so I can't question God too much, but I just have to derive the strength that comes from that. Because what is if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. You know, so if you meet a situation, to everybody out there, if you meet a situation and the situation doesn't kill you, find a strength.
Subscribe to my channel. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Peace out.
The UK Afrobeat sound, as you would have mentioned, is being brewed right here in the UK by Africans who are here in the diaspora. Now, where do they take that? They have to export it somewhere to get value for it. You can consume it within your market space, but you have to export it to get foreign revenue. So where did they export it to? That is one. Now I trust that they are right. The secret is that there's a need to export it to Africa and the parts of the world by collaborations. And I think those who did saw the highest peak in their careers.
True.
You know, because reggae dancehall from Jamaica exported to the rest of the world, right? Afrobeats from Africa, African music from Africa, exported to the rest of the world, and also consumed it within its amongst its people. So I believe strongly that it was really about connectivity and being very intentional about cross-connecting and doing collaborations. And I can make one big example from amongst our own people. Let's say, for instance, I mean, that's it. Let me not just go personal. It might change the whole
conversation.
Flow. So that's it. It's just about exporting it. And that one of the ways to do that is to cross-collab, you know, and make sure that we're intentional about going in and out. And that's how it's going to spread, not only to Africa, but to America as well, and all of those. Yeah.
Do you think that from an African perspective, or let me say Ghanaian perspective, do you think that when the UK Afrobeat scene was thriving, do you think that it was recognized by African countries like Ghana? Was that something that was being spoken about, or was it, I don't know how it was being received in other places?
Yes, I think it was recognized.
Okay.
Taking into consideration an artist like Fuse,